Today's second sequel talk is with AnnaRose, and it's so important. I am calling it the scoop of the decade. We continue to delve into Lance Rich's fascinating discovery that proved Gloria Dea was the first magician to grace a Las Vegas hotel and casino theater stage, and that happened in 1941. As you can imagine, that revelation rocked the magic world and was a shocker. AnnaRose's adventure began with a vintage skirt, and that led to a treasure trove of magic and magic memorabilia, which attracted the interest of magic superstar and collector David Copperfield. The piece de résistance was the miraculous discovery of a real-life living legend. It's a serendipitous, true life story that thrills me to my toes. Now let's hear more from AnnaRose about Gloria Dea and how it all played out.
When I actually saw her a few days ago, she goes, yeah, I was an only child and my parents let me do whatever I want. And I loved every minute of it. And it's like, you haven't changed one bit.
It's like just fantastic. Just how you discovered her and that you went, a step further and that you actually connected with her and that now you're friends.
Because it's the most juicy story ever. I have all the stuff. All of the photos are insane. I'm talking photos from the 30s of her levitating a card from a glass at like 4 years old. The photos are nuts. And one of my favorites, actually, there's this booklet that says after dinner tricks. And there's a photo of her at my age looking foxy. Like, she's so hot, right? She's reading the book and she's kind of like posing and reading the book. And I have the book. So David calls me and is just like, David's probably going to watch this. David, I love you. But David was like drooling over it, right? He's like, AnnaRose, I want to see the stuff. I ended up touring his museum, saw some of the old women in magic part of his exhibit. And yeah, I agree. I feel like the stuff he has versus my stuff is like, my stuff's way better than that. But it would add like a nice part of it, right? And this is a funny part too, actually. I had all the stuff in a suitcase. And also, mind you, she was in Hollywood movies back in the day, these things called soundies. I have all photos of all of that. So David and I, he wants me to come over to the museum with Bizarro and go through everything. And I brought the suitcase and we go up in David's museum, but we had pizza and went through all of this stuff, all of it. And it was like really, it was actually a really great time. It was a great memory. David was so cool.
What was the dateline of this, AnnaRose?
This was in a few weeks after I found the skirt. I bet like a month later.
So are we talking July, August?
First week of August. So I said to David, I'm like, ready for this crazy part? I had learned from the store owner that she's alive. I looked her up online and it was her birthday in August where she was going to turn 99. This is the craziest shit that's ever happened to me. So I have to meet her. And the woman who was working the store just said, well, she's very sick. She's pretty much in hospice. So the answer is no. And it wasn't even like there was no wiggle room. When I looked her up before I even met David, I found photos of her online on this blog website that was made by this guy in 2009.
I saw that, yes.
And he talked about how Gloria was his dad's cousin. So I saw that it was made by this guy, and his name's Kenneth. So I found him on Facebook, and I messaged him, and I said, hello, Kenneth. My name is AnnaRose. You and I don't know each other. This is going to sound crazy because it is. And he goes, oh, like, hello, like, nice to meet you. What a coincidence, because you're the second person this week of all time to ever call me about Gloria. You think that David Copperfield, the biggest magic nerd, in a good way, David, if you're watching this, He's never even heard of her. Okay. I'm like, who was it? And he goes, well, it's this guy named Lance Rich. He's doing a segment about entertainment in Vegas and found her. And so basically reached out because he wanted to talk to her. So then I told David about that. And David ends up calling Lance and getting the whole lowdown.
Right, the history, because he's done a lot of historical research on it with date lines. Yeah.
He got the whole backstory, which it was like such perfect compliment of it. When Lance talked to her, she said to Lance, oh yeah, in an old storage unit, I probably have all my old photos and this and that. And he's like, yeah, so they're somewhere. And me and David are like, yeah, we have them. That's the whole reason why we're even talking right now. So it was like mind blowing. So then I said to Kenneth, I'm like, basically, Kenneth, me and David Copperfield want to meet Gloria. And it was her birthday, like literally like a week later or something crazy like that. Like literally in such perfect divine timing. And also Kenneth, he's a really nice guy. So I actually ended up borrowing miles from my dad and flew Kenneth in for the birthday as well.
That was so kind.
Yeah, so he hadn't seen her in a very long time. And so then it was me, Kenneth, Bizarro, David Copperfield show up to Gloria's house on her birthday. We show up. She is decked out in this black, like sequin dress, is absolutely delighted. We bring her a cake, and David brought her a copy of his book that he had written. She got the first copy ever like distributed, which is really cool. I found online an original poster of her old movie she was in with Buster Crabbe. And he bought the original poster, the big one from like the 40s or 50s or whatever, brought it and had her sign it. And it's such a crazy experience because you think I'm nuts? You think you're nuts? Dude, she's crazy. You show up at her house, she has a big stained glass window of Cleopatra that she made herself. She's spicy as hell. She's so funny. 99, so sharp in the mind. And also, I don't know if even Lance told you this, but Lance said that he called her and asked her, he's like, hi, I'm Lance. I'd like to interview you. Like, I'm doing a thing about the history of magic. And she goes, I am the history of magic. Talking about how her old costumes back in the day. And she said that hers weren't saucy enough when she tried to get them made. So she made them herself. So she was describing the outfits to us and how one had like a very low cut part. And she's like, yeah, I know I have pendulums now, but back then I had boobs. And then she had other magic stuff at her house in big trunks. And that was a really fun time because obviously Bizarro is very well versed in magic. Obviously David is so well versed in magic. So to get to go through trunks of all of her stuff, and that was more stuff like, her linking rings, her table. There was like the first edition of all the Tarbell. So it was so fun to go through all of that with them and her, and to get to go through that, which was amazing.
When I spoke with Lance last, both you and he are young, and you have this quest to find out more and to investigate. And I think that's just brilliant because, you represent the future. It's a wonderful thing. Both of you. Like it's AnnaRose, what you've done is just remarkable. And you're young,
I love magic for what it's done, but what I love more is life and the stories. And all I wanted out of my life from a little kid, I was like, I'm going to live an adventure. I want to live an adventure, and I want to meet amazing people, and I want to do good in the world. And that's all I want. And so we'll see where my career unfolds from this, but it's been very existentially inspiring.
Did you enjoy this talk as much as I did? Have you subscribed to our Magical Women channel? If you haven't, please do. And be sure to hit the notifications bell so you'll be notified when new uploads happen. Don't forget to comment. We really enjoy the feedback and learning what you like and what you'd like to see more of. Ciao for now.